What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for subscribing, and today we're going to check out some Insta360 on this new Freeman 1/10 scale. It's sort of a SCX10 type of clone per se. It's not exactly like it, but I'm hoping that some of the parts will transfer over if I need to get new parts. However, they do have a full listing of the parts inside the manual that comes along with this crawler. It's around the $319 price point, but I'm going to show you why it's worth that price, and we're going to talk about the specifics and some of the specs on this truck. Will also run it in Oregon's most toughest rock environments. Now, it is a really nice looking 1/10 scale body on here and chassis. All the electronics are pretty sweet. 2 to 3S lipo option on here, and it does require some trimming and some painting and final finishing. It also comes with 1.9 tires and wheels, which are pretty tacky. They are also not air filled. You can hear the air rushing out of them. The suspension is oil filled shocks on here, and those seem okay. Probably want to upgrade those a little bit later, but the final finish on this truck is looking pretty cool. It has some cool scale details, and this would sort of be in the class of scale rock crawler. I even have a little tool rack on the top, which I love, and during my tumbles I only had these tools fly off one time, but it was an all the way down the hill type of tumble. And I love the clip savers on here, just like the other SCX10 models have. Really nice option for getting the canopy on and off without having to worry about where your clips go. So they also have them on the front, on the hood as well. And I have a blank option here for my winch and my toe clips. I'm just gonna pull the body off, and we'll check out the chassis real quick. Underneath here, you have a 45-degree turn radius, which is very similar with the Capra that I have, and a 10-kilogram servo. It is also waterproof, which is nice. Steel steering links up in the front, and upgraded differential covers, which are sweet. Those are aluminum steel suspension links as well. All the upgrades that somebody, even like the Wraith Spawn, doesn't have. It also has aluminum braces on the skids, on the boat style skids, which is also nice for keeping those in check. And we have upgraded tranny housing on here, all aluminum, and metal gears inside the transmission, as well as a Dean's connector, which is pretty standard, but HOBBYWING 40 amp waterproof ESC, which is switchable between nickel metal and lipo batteries, which is sweet, and your on off button there. And it comes with a 2S 2700 milliamp lipo, which gives us around a 45-minute runtime, and it has a forward battery mount like most of the newer crawlers have to get that CG up front. We also have LEDs up front and in the rear ready for hookup, and a waterproof receiver case, which is super cool. It has that nice rubber seal around the front and the back, and one on the side for your little receiver antenna to escape out the side there. And the GTX 3-channel radio with servo switching. You have throttle and steering trims as well, your on-off switch, and it takes 4 AA batteries inside that transmitter. But now it's time for the test. Will it survive Oregon rocks? And one of the most favorite places to crawl in our area for most of the hobby shop guys come out here, and there's actually some competitions out here on this island. It's full of some pretty heavy duty terrain, and it's not the terrain that you would take a really bang good cheapy deepy special out here. If you bring out something with plastic gears or something with a really cheap transmission, drivetrain, links, all kinds of things can fail out here. The servos don't make it out. I've had people bring crawlers out here and had servos that lasted 5 minutes or less. So it puts a lot of strain on all the components on the chassis when you come out to this type of area. And one of the handicaps, I guess, right away of this particular crawler is that the bumper does stick out quite far, and I've seen that on the SCX10 models. And you could probably trim that back if you want to get more clearance, if you're not going to use a winch and those clips up front for your cable ties. But I kind of left them on just to see how I could navigate my way through these rocks. I think sometimes it was a little bit of a hang up, but if you can reverse out and then re-angle your wheels, you can usually just about get out of any type of situation, which is nice. But it handles some vert pretty well. Right here it has a lot higher CG because I do have a 360 camera on the very top of the truck body, so it's giving me that extra bit of forward pitch, but I'm still able to make it down some decent vert, which is nice. And in the high speed mode, it has some pretty good speed to it. So if you want to do a little bit of bashing around with your 110 crawler, you can do that with this truck. That doesn't seem to be a problem. It does great burnouts. It does really, really awesome burnouts. It'll do like a 360 little donut. It's really fun. It has a lot of power. That 550 motor is super torquey and great on the high end as well as the low end. Now, for your moderate terrain, a lot of folks don't have really big rocks around where they live. If you use this as a trail truck, it would absolutely do pretty much any trail you took it on. And I love that it has that forward slung battery, so we have a little more forward weight for some of that vertical ascent. And this is some more kind of out in the middle, is a little bit lower terrain here, and it has no problem getting over this stuff. And I've seen the SCX10 too out here, and it performs pretty much the same as an SCX10 too, which is good in my book, especially for a few extra upgrades that we have on this one in comparison. And again, up and down, no problem. And this isn't one of those trucks that I brought out that I didn't really have super high hopes with this particular model, and I was kind of afraid that I'd be out here for the first 10 minutes and not have a drivable truck and need to repair it or get parts and fix it and bring it out and finish up the review. But it was surprising. It pretty much handled any rocks out here that even my Capra did. It will not go quite as vertical as the Capra because it does have a little bit higher CG on this truck, but it'll go about 80% to 90% of the places that the Capra will. And a lot of it depends on the driver as well. So if you have somebody who really knows what they're doing, they could probably make this truck go anywhere that the Axial trucks can go. But moving right along, I love this truck now. I'm really surprised and happy that it is performing the way it is. And I have to say, when I left after this full day of crawling with this truck, I went home and I was really happy to have this truck. I did get it for free for a review, and I could be biased about it, but most of my reviews, if you've seen some of my reviews, I punish stuff, and I'm pretty hard on stuff, and I also let people know if something's junk or not. And the only thing, again, that bothers me is that bumper hang up on this particular style crawler. It just sticks out a little bit far. I felt like I wanted a pair of snips to snip off those front clip locks in the front there, but I'm gonna leave them on in case I decide to add it for that scale look later. I hate to destroy anything or change or mod anything too much, because this is not really a comp crawler. It's a scale crawler, and the big difference between those two types of crawlers, honestly, is, you know, you're not going quite as vertical with this type of truck. It's more like realistic type crawling, what a regular type of 4x4 could do. And it has no problem making a summit. It's awesome. And one of the other things that surprised me about this truck was how well it actually does descend off of a top of rocks with a decent amount of vert coming down, and it didn't flip over in a lot of instances, which was surprising. And now going up here, I almost flipped over right there, and this is a pretty precarious situation right here that we're kind of, I'm at a bad angle right here, and this is all about steering wheel direction and just kind of taking your time. That's the greatest thing about rock crawling to me, is the moment you're about to flip over and deciding what to do to make it out of that particular situation. It feels really good to do that and get out of it and make a triumphant crawl. Probably everybody's favorite part about rock crawling, making it up to that summit and seeing your truck on the very top of the stack of rocks that you just climbed. That's the most satisfying thing about crawling to me. And it's always, again, it's not always about where you're going, it's about the journey, right? And the greatest thing about this island out here is that it is kind of like crawler heaven out here. There is a million one different lines out here. Every time I come out here, I find different lines and spots to check out and crawl and film. It's just one of the greatest spots that I know of. And I gotta say thanks to Remote Control Hobbies here in Portland for letting me know about this spot, and I've been able to meet some other guys out there and make some friends in the crawling community, which is really awesome. So I guess one of the things that I like the most about this particular truck is that everything works on here, and I didn't have to go to upgrades right away with the stock components that this particular crawler came with. Everything came ready to go, and I'm happy that I didn't have to upgrade or fix anything on the first day. And I've been running this truck now for 2 to 3 weeks, and everything on it is still working. It's in my shop, and there we go. We made it down another really nice sort of vertical section there. It's hard to tell in some of the video how steep some of these rocks actually are, but it is, again, it's quite capable of getting up some pretty good faces. And again, I have to comment that the tires, the stock tires, actually really tacky, and they worked well. It was nice and dry out today, and there wasn't a lot of moisture on the tires, which does help. Days when it's wetter out here, it's sort of harder to get up some of the faces. Again, coming down again here, a little bit of vert, almost going vert there. Pretty steep axis for the front end, and the front end hugs pretty well coming down, and it seems to be able to get away with some pretty amazing stuff without flipping over and scooting right up on top of those rocks, no problem. And I actually did enjoy the process of putting everything on this body. You've got to take a reamer and put your tool rack on there, but it comes with some pins that actually do clip onto the inside of the door handles, and your rearview mirrors have bolts that are bolted through with washers, so your rearview mirrors aren't likely to break off, which is a nice thing. And I spent a good 2 to 3 hours just enjoying the body finishing process. And I messed up a little bit because I did get a little bit of paint on the windows, which when I get a little bit better at finishing, hopefully that won't happen again. But this truck is capable, and that's what I keep thinking about it. It's capable. I wouldn't say it's quite as capable as my Capra, but this is going to probably be my second favorite rock crawler that I own right now. So I'm really happy to have this one. And this one will definitely get to come back out here again. A lot of times I have a lot of filming gear and stuff to take out here, so I don't bring multiple crawlers out here, but I usually choose one crawler and come out with a handful of batteries, and I'm good for the day. And check that out. Good save. You see a little bit of reverse and flip back around. It's awesome. And I was a little bit jealous. My friend has the SCX10 Jeep Cherokee, and he has this all refinished, and it looks great. He's added all kinds of mods on there. I think he's put over around like $1,200 worth of work and extras into his, all brass weighted and everything. And you could do some upgrades like that on this one if you wanted to. You can add your brass upgrades to the wheels, make them a little heavier, get that CG lower, more weight you add to it, and be able to get away with some more vert. So I think it has a lot of versatility. I guess the scale look of it to me is just fantastic. I think it looks like something that you'd see somewhere full scale. Really cool looking. Love the truck body on this one and the scale details that they put on there. And overall, I'm quite impressed and satisfied with the power system on here. I'm not going to change this motor out anytime soon because I think the 550 motor has plenty of top end power. Like I mentioned before, it does donuts and it can pretty much crawl anything out there about 80% of the stuff that the Capra did, maybe 90% even. I also like the fact that it came with these super tacky tires. The tires are great. If I could source those somewhere, I have to share those with you guys so you could try them out. They're pretty nice. I like the scale detail, the clip savers on here, the tool rack, and the extra details on here. And the bumper, again, it has the winch option on the front if you decide to do that. I'll try to put a link down below so you guys can get a winch. There's an electronic winch you can buy to pull yourself out, which is super cool. And the scale detail actually looks pretty good. I like the door handles and the fact that everything is bolted on and it has clips behind the door handles. It does have non-air filled tires with one stage foam inside there. And the back there with my trail map and the gas tank. I absolutely love the gas tank. Good spacing in between the wheel wells and the tires for the suspension. And I didn't have a lot of hang up. I hear a lot of banging around with this style body. And I just bolted my tank on the back with 2 extra long 3M style bolts. Turn radius was good as well. 45-degree steering in the front really helps out getting that extra torque on the rock to make it up certain faces where you're kind of getting into some vert situations. But I'm happy with the truck. It came home in one piece. It looks great and it still runs. So I'm gonna have to give this one 2 thumbs up from me, and probably one of the best China crawlers out there if you decide to go that route. This one's safe to buy in my opinion. So guys, thanks again for watching. I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and I will definitely see you on the next one.